This episode is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the #1 seller of games and gaming accessories. And GatheringMagic.com, the #1 resource for Magic the Gathering news and articles.
Hi, I'm Jack, and this is my Rafiq of the Mini Deck. Right, so this is Rafiq of the Many. He's a 4-cost 3/3, and he has Exalted, and he means that whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end turn. This basically leads to a general kill deck. He runs up and beheads someone with his big shiny sword, and hence there's lots of there's a lot of buff for him. But it does other things as well. So, yeah, Rafiq the Many. Mana, got Temple of the False God. It's in most EDH decks. You never really find it hard to get to 5 mana. So, yeah, Temple. Alchemist Refuge, new from the Avacyn set. And you pay a green and a blue and you tap and you cast non-land cards this turn as though they had flash. Obviously, it's not as good as Leyline of Anticipation, but that's in here. But if you don't have the Leyline, it's a pretty good, and you never really need to worry that much about having to pay the extra green and blue, because there's a lot of mana in this deck. Well, there's a lot of ramp in it. Reliquary Tower, no maximum hand size. It's a staple in EDH these days, and it's important, especially because of the amount of card draw in this deck that Reliquary Tower is about. Haunted Fengraf. A lot of my friends don't like it. They say because it's random and the cost is quite high that it is expensive. I like it, especially with Sun tying out. You can just do it constantly, and if you've only got one creature card and it's a good one in your graveyard, it is a pretty good way of getting it back. Command Tower, everybody knows it. It's Command Tower. It's in EDH. Bounce Land, first of 2. Simic Growth Chamber. Bounce Lands are a risky early game, I find. They have caused me to discard a card or 2 here and there, but worth it overall, I think, especially with mana doubling and things like Garruk. It's awesome. A manland, got Celestial Colonnade. I don't often turn it into the elemental, but if I do need to, it's there, and it has saved me, I think, a couple of times, but often not that useful. Azorius Chancery, the other bounce land. Graypelt Refuge. It's pretty good. Green or white, and you gain a life. Woo. Mosswort Bridge, Hideaway. Everybody likes it. It's not hard to get to 10 power, and it has won me the game on occasion by just popping something out that people did not expect to appear. And yeah, so Mosswort Bridge. Kabria Crossroads. I know really it's kind of pointless, but I like to gain the 2 life, and it's a pretty picture. So Halimar Depths. Good early deck fixing if you need to sort out the top of your deck, especially if you're short on mana in your opening hand. Vivid Creek, it's Vivid Creek, good mana fixing, solid. And then we have, I believe, 7 forests, including my first shiny one. 6 islands, including my very shiny first island. It's probably I think my favourite of the shiny island artworks. And then 5 planes, also with a shiny planes. It's like I like shiny things. Who knew? Soul Ring. We'll get to the mana ramp now. Soul Ring. Everybody knows it. It's Soul Ring. Sakura-Tribe Scout. I maintain for this deck is better than a bop. It gives you a permanent mana, and you don't often need the mana fixing that badly. It's not that bad in terms of I very rarely have to worry about not having the right colours, and I love her. Bloom Tender, one of my favourite cards. She's awesome. Having 6 mana in turn 3, which is possible with her, is just brutal, and yeah, she's my baby. I have targeted players just for them killing her, so yeah, Bloom Tender. Get to the creature card draw. Kami of the Crescent Moon. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws a card. Extra cards. Everybody loves Kami. He's a very political card as well. So, yeah, Kami. Laboratory Maniac, or as we call him, Charlie Sheen. If you draw a card where your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. As Charlie would say, winning. He's just awesome. I have won the game with him a couple of times now. He's a fairly recent addition. Jace's Archivist. If you've got a big hand and you've got Charlie Sheen on the board, or Laboratory Maniac, I should probably call him because you lot won't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, if you've got a big hand size and you want to draw lots and lots of cards, it can also be political, because I have found that if people have got small hands and they want to draw into something nice, then you can Jace the Archivist, and that will make them hate you a bit less. Although you can also do it to be mean and get rid of something nasty someone has in their hands. Cold-Eyed Selkie. Island Walkie goodness. It is expensive for a 1/1, but being able to draw... I've drawn so many cards off this lovely lady. She's just brilliant. Mama Vig. Big, just awesome card. The green... Playing a green and blue creature in this deck isn't hard, and being able to tutor up almost any creature. Well, any creature, I believe, yeah. Any creature in my deck. He's just brilliant. He usually dies. My playgroup know of him, and they don't tend to like him, but while he stays about, he can do very nasty things. Skyward Eye Prophets, just like card draw with a bonus. He's not bad. He's a 3/3 Vigilant at the very least. Maybe he does cost 6, which is expensive, but I've never really found it to be that problematic. It's just card draw, but if you draw a land, then you put it into play. Oh, you do have to reveal the card though, but fortunately this deck doesn't really play anything surprising. It doesn't pop out a big surprise card, so you don't often have to worry about that. Soul of the Harvest, also new from Avacyn. A deck plays a fair few creatures, so you can use it to draw a lot, and either way he is a big 6/6 trample beater, so yeah, we like him. Arcanis, we know what he does. He's Arcanis. You tap and draw 3 cards. Very tasty. And then Consecrated Sphinx, because if you're going to have a lot of card draw, you have Consecrated Sphinx. People hate it, understandably so. I hate it when it's played against me, but despite that, I love him. He has won me the game on so many occasions. Just the sheer volume of card draw that you get from this card is just ridiculous. Yeah, Consecrated Sphinx. Now we get to the buff creatures. They've got the Knight of New Alara, which is each other multicoloured creature you control gets +1/+1 for each of its colours. In a multicoloured deck, this card's just awesome. Rafiq gets +3/+3 off him, makes him very big, and he's just brilliant and a good forecast. Wolfir Silverheart, a new addition. Unsure about him at the moment. The Soul Bond I do quite like, but having an 8/8 for 5 and then making Rafiq a 7/7 seems like a perfectly good idea to me. I can't see anything wrong with it, so yeah. And then Murkfiend Liege, which just also, as well as being a green-blue buffer, you untap all your green or blue creatures in everybody else's upkeep. Oh, untap step I should say. And with there's a fair few tap abilities in this deck, so that can be really helpful. Right, we get to Board Sweep Defense. Dauntless Escort, he's just brilliant. A big rhino who gets in the way of the explosion and takes it for everyone else. You sack him and creatures you control become indestructible for a turn. He's just good. If you get him under a Mimic Vat, you can just be indestructible forever, so yeah, I like it. Loxodon Hierarch, similar to the Dauntless Escort, but you do have to pay a green and a white, and it is regenerate rather than indestructible. But he's an elephant instead, so he's cooler. Now we get to just other creatures in the deck. Spellskite, recent addition. He is a brilliant defense for Rafiq. He stops people targeting with damage spells and kill spells, and paying the 2 life, because you usually won't want to play the blue. the 2 life very rarely matters in EDH, so yeah, spell scale. Wall of Denial, everybody knows it. Denied. Just a big wall of denial, as you can probably tell from the name. Kind of does what it says on the tin. Trygon Predator. My deck tends to suffer in that it doesn't destroy artifacts very well, or enchantments for that matter. So Trygon Predator is really my only good defense against it. And but with Rafiq out, he can destroy, with the double strike from Rafiq, he can destroy 2 really big artifacts. But having to deal the combat damage can be problematic. But I still love him. He's an old favourite of mine. Phyrexian Metamorph. My copy's a bit battered, unfortunately. My mate spilled water on it. But everybody knows what it does. Combined with things like, I've got a double Incubans in here, he does become ridiculous. And either way, he is just a good general kill spell if you need to get rid of someone's pesky general, like an Avacyn or something like that. Sower of Temptation. Been really helpful lately, what with the addition of the big angels from the Avacyn set, like Avacyn and Gisela. I have nicked both of those recently while playing this card, and both of them have been very, very helpful for me. So yeah, Sower of Temptation. Aura Thief. By himself, he looks pretty good, but there is a combo I'll show later on where he does just make you win. Gaining control of, when he dies, you gain control of all enchantments. So gaining control of things like Mana Reflection or whatever can be really helpful. Seedborn Muse. It's just brilliant. You untap all your permanents in each other player's untap step. It's just a good solid card. Empress Galina. It's a bit mean, I admit. Stealing, you know there's going to be legends about, thanks to the need for a general, and she can just take them off your opponents. And also it is permanent steal. It doesn't end when she goes away, so she's just brilliant. She doesn't often get to get her ability off because people will kill her, but she's awesome. Mnemonic Wall. Usually use this to bounce back things like my Genesis Wave if I need to, or Day of Judgment or something like that. Good, solid card. Teferi, despite this being a blue deck, I know this will shock people, but I don't run any counter spells. What? And so I do need a defense against other people's counter spells, and that's where Teferi comes in. And giving you creatures flash as well. Why would you not? Psychosis Crawler. As I said earlier, there is a lot of card draw, so making him, he'll be a big beater and probably capable of killing someone by himself, especially with Rafiq out. And drawing a card and making opponents lose life is funny. So, and I have in the past drawn 40 cards in one turn. Never done it with Psychosis Crawler out, but hopefully sometime in the future we will be able to laugh about that. Sun Titan, obviously being a general damage deck, there is a fair few equipments, especially the cheap ones, and Sun Titan does help you to get them back, and it helps you to get back things like Kami, because everyone loves Kami, and you can combine it with Haunted Fengraf to constantly get stuff out of your graveyard, so he's awesome. Uyo Silent Prophet, another good counterspell defense. You can pay 2 and return 2 lands you control to their owner's hand, and then you copy target instant or sorcery spell. So if someone plays a counterspell, you just bounce 2 of your lands back and copy it and counter it, if that makes any sense. So yeah, she's good defense, and you can do it on other things like Genesis Waves or Praetor's Councils or any other really big spell that you want to copy. So yeah, Uyo. Sphinx Ambassador. I love her, and she's shiny. She's a bit battered, but she's shiny. Basically, whenever she deals combat damage to a player, you get to search that player's library for a card. And if you did search for a creature card, and the opponent then has to guess the name of the creature card that you have searched for. If they don't get it right, you get it under your control. This card's just funny. Watching people try and figure out what is actually in their decks is just brilliant. You do have to be careful with it, because people will go, if you pick an obvious thing, like if someone only has one really big creature, don't take it because it will be pointless. But I've got friends who have, like, I have a friend who plays a Trevor deck, which has got lots and lots of horribleness in it, and a friend who plays a 5-colour deck, which also has lots of really big cards. And if you go for them and you get it through, it is very hard for them to guess what you've gone for. So yeah, something like that. Imperial Archangel keeps you alive just that extra bit longer that you might need. It's a good way to stop general damage decks, at least for a turn until Rafiq can kill them back. A card I am missing from this deck that I do really want is Vigor, because combined with Imperial Archangel, it does make you technically undamageable, and Imperial Archangel just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, which is always funny to watch. So yeah, Imperial Archangel. Rites of Flourishing, it's like Kami, except you get to play a land as well. Who doesn't love it? It's another political card, there to make people like me. And I do like the extra card draw, it's good. Archmage Ascension, this combined with Consecrated Sphinx can just be a beast. It is possible in a large multiplayer game to just get the 6 counters that you need straight off the bat. It's rare for it to happen because people will tend to destroy it as quickly as possible, but if you do, you're searching for what you need and you're likely to win the game. Leyline of Anticipation, it's Leyline of Anticipation. You have Flash and it can be for free. It's brilliant. This combined with Seedborn Muse and Consecrated Sphinx can just leave other players crying. I've seen it happen before, so yeah, it's a Leyline. And then I've also run the white Leyline. I would run the green one, but not that relevant really, but this one's in there to stop things like Fireball. I used to have a couple of friends who ran like Infinite Mirror, then Fireball combos and stuff like that, and I don't like being blown up by things I can't stop, so Leyline of Sanctity. Light Minefield, got a couple of friends who play token decks. One plays a big elf deck which then punches you really hard in the face, and I do not approve of that, so Light Minefield stops you. Ha 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 ha. Hibernation's End. New edition. I like it, it's worked well. It hasn't really had a chance to get to the final end of my creatures, but it's solid. And I've seen it work for other people really well. So, Asceticism. I like having hexproof because I don't like my stuff being targeted. And it can be a good defense against a board wipe for important creatures if you've got the mana spare. Finest Hour. With Rafiq out, this can make me kill 2 players a turn if I've got Rafiq beefed enough, which isn't that rare. Because of this, you can kill like 3 people by turn 5 if you get it off right. So yeah, Finest Hour. Enchanted Evening. This is where my horrible mean combo comes in. I tend not to cast this unless I'm like likely to lose or the game's like dragging on and we're in a stalemate or something. But basically, Enchanted Evening, it makes all permanents enchantments in addition to their other types. This means that if you've got Aura Thief out and Aura Thief dies, you gain control of all permanents. That includes land and stuff like that. And it's just a mean combo that people tend to hate on you for casting. I have had a friend storm off when I cast this before. I say friend. So yeah, it is mean, but it's there just in case. Mana Reflection, it's just awesome. You tap a permanent, produces twice as much of that mana instead. The fact that it's permanent rather than land, and it does produce twice as much, it doesn't just add 1, makes it, I think, better than things like Mirari's Awake and like stuff like that. So yeah, Mana Reflection. Then we get some of the auras. Spirit Mantle, basically unblockable, makes Rafiq get through the damage that he needs to do. It's pretty awesome. Protective Bubble, Wisp Silk Cloak in an aura, does have the risk of, if you shroud him too early and then you can't put other things on him, you might not be big enough to kill someone quite quick enough, but it's there just in case you can't get your Wisp Silk. Eldrazi Conscription, I love this card. I just love it. It's just made me kill so many people. It's a recent edition, I only just got it, and it's already become one of my favourite cards in the deck. Watching Rafiq run through and just trample someone horribly to death. He doesn't need anything else, he needs this. So yeah, Eldrazi Conscription. Swiftfoot Boots, everybody knows them. Hexproof Haste. I prefer them to Lightning Greaves because I don't like Shroud as much as I like Hexproof, and I'm willing to pay the extra 1. I know a lot of people won't agree with me, but I like Hexproof, so yeah, Swiftfoot Boots. Sword of Vengeance, pretty standard, everybody knows it. it makes Rafiq good. Darksteel Plate, don't often need it, but it can be really helpful. More likely than not though, it will go on things like Consecrated Sphinx or Spell Sky. Having it on Spell Sky and watching people fail to target anything on your board is funny, so yeah, Darksteel Plate. Behemoth Sledge, or Behemoth Sledge, however you feel like saying it. Quick creature gets +2/+2 lifelink and trample. It is the only lifelink in the deck, but it has saved me on occasion. Just pulling it out when you're on low life and just equipping it to something big and gaining the stuff you need back. And yeah, it's just good. Whisper Silk Cloak, Unblockable Shroud. It means Rafiq runs through and cracks someone in the head. Whisper Silk Cloak. Sigil of Distinction. I've had this out for like 30 before. It's just good. It will just make Rafiq huge. I did have Argentum Armour, but I don't care enough about destroying one permanent, especially not for a 6 cost equip. If the equip was less, I probably would keep it, but I dropped it. Elixir of Immortality. It gains you 5 life and you shuffle it, and your graveyard. Awesome. Doubling Cube. You pay 3 and the double your amount of mana in your mana pool. It's just awesome. This has helped me win the game so many times. I hadn't seen it ever before, and then I ran across it in a friend's trading folder and just went, oh, what does that do? I'll chuck it in Rafiq and see if it works. And it's just won me the game so many times. I know it can be risky early game because it doesn't really do much, but late game it's just horrible. Ratchet Bomb, as I was saying, token decks, go boom tokens, or I can specifically target something if I need to. It's unlikely though, usually it will try and go for the tokens. Rings of Brighthearth, activated abilities doubled, works on, well, it works on Doubling Cube, firstly, which is the obvious target for it. It works on Planeswalkers, works on some of my creature buff things like this one, Wine of Blood and Iron. It's just good, it's awesome. As I was saying, Wine of Blood and Iron, basically you double a creature's power for 4, and you do it as many times as you can in a turn, but then at the end of the turn you do have to sacrifice it. If you've got a lot of mana, you can just make something ridiculous. It's also a political card because it is target creature. I have used it to buff one of my friend's creatures. I was about to win the game, so he decided to attack my other friend randomly, and I gave his creature a power of like 2 million, something ridiculous like that, because it does just get huge. So yeah, Wild Blood and Iron. Mimic That. It's Mimic That. It's pretty awesome. With Consecrated Sphinx and Dauntless Escort, your creatures are always indestructible. So. Garruk, Wild Speaker, untap 2 lands. Pretty solid. I have used the Overrun Trample before just to give that Rafiq his extra little boost to finish someone off. So yeah, Garruk. Venser, he's in there. He does bounce stuff often, but he also uses the Unblockable because it can be really helpful. I've never got his final off. I would love to, and I intend to one day just to be mean, and I will get there eventually, you'll watch, but not yet. We'll see. Rampant Growth, everybody knows it. Cultivate, everybody knows it. Spring Cleaning, this is in there to combo off with Enchanted Evening. It's another of my win cons, just in case. Basically, you destroy a target enchantment and then you can clash with an opponent. If you win, destroy all enchantments your opponents control. I couldn't think of anything else which destroyed all enchantments your opponents control, so I went with this. You do obviously have the risk of the clash, which can mean that you don't win, but to be honest, often I'll just target it on Aura Thief, kill off my Aura Thief, and then maybe destroy everything else, but probably not, and then just have everything and win. Time Reversal. It's just an awesome card. It's a good way of shuffling in your graveyard if you want to get it in, and if you've got a poor hand, you can draw 7 cards. Obviously, it is only one use though. So, but Day of Judgment, Explosions, boom. Everybody knows it. Phyrexian Rebirth, bigger boom, and you get a big horror. So, Praetor's Council, brilliant card. Admittedly, it is expensive, but having no maximum hand size for the rest of the game is really good in this deck. And returning all cards from your graveyard to your hand is good. I do not run much in the way of anything returny, so Praetor's Council is awesome. Right Replication quickly became a staple in any blue deck in EDH, especially among our playgroup. I don't know about other people's, but in ours it did. Getting to the 9 mana isn't difficult, and having 6 tokens, having 6 of a beefy creature, I often play on the Knight of New Alara in this deck, or the Murkfiend Liege. It's just good. And then Genesis Wave. Oh, Genesis Wave is awesome. Combined with Mana Reflection, a lot of mana, and Doubling Cube, and Rings of Brighthearth, I have Genesis Wave literally for my entire deck and just killed everyone on the board. It's just a sound card. Before I had Laboratory Maniac or Charlie Sheen, it could get risky if I played it for too much. I once had a friend who copied it and then had a Temple Bell and tapped the bell, and I died, and it was annoying. But Genesis Wave is brilliant. Thanks for watching CMDR decks. Please subscribe and favourite.